Hey guys, future Jason here. I just wanted to say that this video kind of didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but I'm going to post something because posting something is better than not posting at all. And I just quickly wanted to add that the film program at my school is not really a program. What you do is you pick classes from the course catalog individually. So you have to individually select a film class and then you make up your curriculum. Like you decide what film class you're going to take first, what film class you're going to take second, if you're going to take them all 4 years or not. So there's no film program. Another thing is they don't really, they're not very good at teaching you how to use the equipment. So for me, I would always go to the ER, the equipment room, and I would see Brian, who's the head of that, and I would ask him, how do I use this camera? And him or the student worker would show me how to use the camera quickly, how to do the tripod, everything. You always want to test your equipment before you take it out, and they have a testing spot for you. So I would, if you are a filmmaker and you want to make films and you also want to do intellectually stimulating things like learning, I would definitely say Sarah Lawrence is for you, but I would just be very aware that there's no film program. It's really self-guided, and you just kind of have to figure out as you're going. You get thrown into the deep end, and that's what happens, and you thrash around, and then eventually you float. So that's what happened to me. I just wanted to be transparent about that and let you guys know. Okay, that's it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you around Sarah Lawrence College. But first I'm going to talk a little bit about if I regret Sarah Lawrence. And that short answer is no. The longer answer is maybe. So basically I came to Sarah Lawrence in 2018 with excitement and positivity and a dream. Basically, I had the dream of wanting to go to Oxford and studying abroad there, but unfortunately that didn't happen for me. But today's video is not about Oxford. That's another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience here. So basically, I came in 2018 and I was like, I'm going to make all these friends. We're going to hang out late at night. We're going to study together. And that did not happen. I made one friend here in the 3 years that I was at the school. And we actually did study together and hang out every minute of the day. So that made going here a lot easier. There's a really steep learning curve at Sarah Lawrence. You come in thinking you're a good writer and you proved yourself and you're smart, but when you come to Sarah Lawrence, there's a lot of people here who have a lot of wealth and a lot of resources that I didn't have. So I grew up in suburbia. I grew up in a little town by the water, and I was just kind of an average kid, I guess. I did theater. I painted and helped build sets. I was really into my studies. I was obsessed. I used to run a study blur and follow a lot of study bloggers. But when you come to Sarah Lawrence, that's really shaken up a little bit, your perception of yourself as a good student, just because the people here have a lot of wealth and resources that I didn't have. There was this one girl who would talk about writing her dissertation in a rainforest, and I've never written a dissertation and I've never been to a rainforest. Also, this school is not a party school, so it's really hard to make friends because also there's a lack of student spaces on campus. So when I give you the tour, you'll see that there's the student center called Barbara Walters Campus Center, and there's Bates, which is on the other end, but there's no spaces to really hang out with your friends or to get to know people. So it's really hard to meet people and make friends because there's not a lot of student spaces on campus, unfortunately. So here's some of the reasons why I do like Sarah Lawrence College. So I really like the flexibility that we have and how we can make our studies interdisciplinary. So for example, I took a photography class, I've taken a film class, and I took a queer studies class. And I was able to use what I was learning in one class and apply it to the other classes. And that's the main reason I came here was I wanted to make stories about queer people, specifically queer trans people, and make films that were normative and showcase our lives and the magic of T for T love. So I was able to do that here because of the interdisciplinary curriculum. The only other school that has an interdisciplinary curriculum is Brown, and I applied to Brown and I was rejected. So I am very happy I came to Sarah Lawrence because I was able to, the school saw that I was a good student and they saw in my vision of creating queer T for T stories, which is really important to me. Something that I do regret but something that I kind of missed out on was having a college experience, because the way Sarah Lawrence is set up is it's set up as a grad school. So it's set up where you read a lot of books. You're producing 20-page conference papers, 15 to 20 pages per seminar that you take, and making films, and it just feels impossible. You're juggling all of this, and I got really burnt out and I stress hived, so I broke out in hives because I was so stressed. But this year that didn't happen, and at the end of the day, I'm very grateful that I came to Sarah Lawrence. I'm very grateful to them for accepting me at this school. I was able to, through studying queer studies, specifically with Julie Abraham, I was able to free myself of bioessentialism and transmedicalism, and I was really able to interrogate how I experience my gender and really accept myself as being a non-binary boy. Because prior I was I'm a trans man, I have to be a trans man because that's easier, people understand it, and I always had a connection to gayness, to being a gay boy, and that's very important to me. But then I realized no, I'm just a fucking boy. Sorry, I'm just a boy. I'm not a man. And studying with Julie Abraham really helped me do that work. And it really helped open my eyes up to how I was thinking. I also took a class with Linwood on sex, and we did talk a lot about bioessentialism, which is the idea that there's something innate about you. So and it's the idea that penis is a man, vulva is for a woman, or very transmedicalist thinking of if you want to go on, if you are a trans man, you're becoming a man, you're not a man already. So bioessentialism is very toxic, is transmedicalism, and I was able to, through talking with him, through the assignments, through hearing what he had to say, I really freed myself and shed that away. So if you want to have a transformative experience where you come out as a better thinker, as a better writer, you should come to this school. Because Julie Abraham is tough, and she made me a good writer. Alice Trox, who teaches the art of profile, so journalism, she was an editor for the New Yorker. She might still be, I'm not sure, but she really, really she would sit with me and go over every line that I had, telling me how to make it better. And I took that class as a freshman or sophomore, I don't remember, but it was the best class I took because I used those skills throughout the course of my time at Sarah Lawrence, and I'm really thankful to her for doing that. She's one of my favorite professors. So yeah, if you want to have a transformative experience, if you want to push yourself, if you want to come out of it as a better human being and a thinker and a student, Sarah Lawrence is for you. Yeah. I think the only thing that sucks is not having a college experience and not having student spaces and having trouble making friends. I was able to make friends with another person because I went to a club, and that's how we met. But the clubs on this campus are not active. The only club that was really active was SJP, which is a club for Palestinian rights, and that's it. And there's Hillel, but Hillel is a Zionist organization, so I don't associate myself with them. Sorry, I'm not a fan of colonialism and genocide, or colonization and genocide, rather. But yeah, so now I'm going to take you on the tour, and I really hope that we have a good time together. Cool. Also, before I go, another thing I really like about Sarah Lawrence is that you form really intimate relationships with your professors, and they work with you one-on-one. Like, you have conference, which is it's based off of the tutorial system at Oxford, where you meet one-on-one with a professor and you go over your work. And some professors will be open to you talking about your personal life. Like, my Jewish studies professor, Hannah, was really there for me during my breakup, and she was very understanding of my disabilities, and she really worked with me to make sure that I could be the best student I could be. And then I had I never had a professor tell me they're not interested in my personal life, but I've tried to share, for example, with Elias, who teaches Black trans studies, and I told him something personal, and he was just okay, but he didn't really do anything with it. But yeah, if you want to form really close relationships with your professors and you want to learn from very intelligent, knowledgeable people, then Sarah Lawrence is also for you. And I'm really grateful to my professors because they believed in me when no one else did. So yeah. Okay, now we can go on with the tour. I'm sorry this was so long. I just had a lot to say. But I also have some other videos on Sarah Lawrence, so I'll link them down below and you guys can check them out. Cool. Right now we are at the campus center, which was built, I think, this year. It was finished being built this year. This is where all of the college events happens. They're doing a lot of dances in there. There's the cafe and the dining hall. What sucks though is that the cafe, if you want to get a bagel and a coffee, that's a meal swipe. But if you get a bagel and a latte, it's a meal swipe and meal money. So it's super duper expensive and just not good. The food is mediocre. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of it, but I don't hate it. And the vegan section is always tofu and something else. And I hate when they make the tofu spicy because then I can't eat anything because I don't eat spicy food. So that kind of sucks. But the student center is really nice. They're setting up an event, so I can't go in there right now. But yeah, that's the student center. Yeah, okay. That's all I have to say about that. I don't know. This is the library, also known as my home. I always came here every day. I was basically glued to the seats. The library, unfortunately, isn't as beautiful as some other schools like Harvard, Brown, or any other expensive school. And the reason I'm comparing Sarah Lawrence to those schools is because Sarah Lawrence was a sister school, meaning that it was the girl version of an Ivy League. So it's basically an Ivy League, but it's not because they admitted girls back then and Ivies did not. So that's why Sarah Lawrence it's not an Ivy, but it technically is. So yeah. Anyways, the library is my favorite place to be. It's the place I spend the most time. And I actually met some of my friends here. Yeah, so that's that. The library. Okay. Hello. So I'm so sorry. My camera died and I didn't bring any backup batteries and I didn't bring anything to mount my phone onto the tripod. So I'm just going to quickly show you what's going on in this section. So basically this is there's a few different sections of these buildings, if you can see. Basically the top floors are for students and the bottom floor and basement is where the professors' offices are. So at Sarah Lawrence, your academics and your life are kind of intertwined. And then on this side, we have the new dorms, and those are just for students. There's no professors' offices there. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you that. And then this is the tea house, and all the money that they get goes towards the scholarship fund and helps fund scholarships for students, which is pretty cool. And I spent a lot of time in there because there's a heater, and the library, they won't fix the heat, so I would just go and study here. Yeah. And then this building behind me is Westlands, which is the admissions building. So on the first floor, you have financial aid, you have offices, you have admissions, you have where they do interviews, but the top floors are where students live. So students, again, are living in a building with like admin, which is kind of weird, but it's kind of nice, I guess. Personally, I like that everything's intertwined, because when you are learning, you should also be living your best life, you know? You should be mixing it all up. So yeah, I think that's good. I mean, I like living where I live. I live in Hill, so I'll show you that in a minute. And that's an apartment style, and it's actually, I personally like it. A lot of people complain, but I like it, so yeah. So this is Bates, which used to be the student center, but now it's Barbara Walters Campus Center. But I just wanted to take you and show you what it looks like. This is also where the buffet style dining is. There's also the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion office on the top floor, where I worked for them for the semester, which is really cool. So yeah, that's what that is. But it's down this hill, so it's not the most accessible, but they put railings in so you don't slip, so yeah. So this right here is Heimbold, which is the art building. This is where all of the art classes take place, including film. There's also a lab inside where you can edit your films on one of the computers. There's also an equipment room where you can check out your stuff and rent it. So I spent a lot of time in this building, and I have a lot of memories with Misael, who was my film professor, and Rona Mark. Two wonderful film professors that I studied with here. I also had my working girl class in here. My film history class was called Working Girls, and that class met in here too. So yeah, there's also a theater kind of building. There's a screening room. There's like two screening rooms. One is kind of like a movie theater with like a big stage and a projection screen, and the other one is just a projection screen and some chairs. But yeah, that's the art building. And because I was here before the rebrand, I remember when they had a cafe in here and you could just grab some coffee and a snack while you were in between classes, but they got rid of that and moved that to the Barbara Walters Campus Center. So now you have to go over there to get your coffee and your snack. Thankfully, it's not too far, but it's kind of annoying, but yeah. This building is where I had my poetry class. This is the Graduate Studies building, but they do have poetry and writing classes that happen in here. This is Andrews Court. So these buildings are actually dorms. They're like mini houses. They have a kitchen, they have a living room, they have like 2 floors. My first year, when I was a freshman, I was like, I'm gonna get one of these, I'm gonna live here. But because the school fucks over its students, I was not able, and other people were not able to apply for it, because they had the lottery, then they got rid of the lottery. But I was always put in Hill, which I'll show you later. But yeah, these are the buildings. So now we are in Sloanham Woods, where you have these buildings that look like ski lodges, I guess. And I actually wanted to live here as well, but of course that didn't happen, because when they were doing, the way that they used to do it was you had to have like friends so your group of friends had to fill the house, and they put you in the house. But I don't know anybody here, I don't have friends really, so I could not live here. But this is what it looks like. It's cool. This is the gym, which I would go to every, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, and I would do Pilates, and that was really helpful when I was going through my breakup, because it took my mind off of something. It kept me busy. And I also do Pilates on my own time, so I would just do Pilates, and I would go to the gym, and I would just do them there every day, and it was really helpful. Yeah, there's also a pool in there, there's a gym, there's a basketball court, so I just used the gym and would exercise on a mat. So yeah, that's the student, so yeah, that's the gym. Last but not least is Hill House. This is where I live. It's an apartment style. You get a kitchen, you get a common space, and yeah, typically rooms will be 2 to 3 people. I'm in a triple as a single. I was on medical leave, so they saved the room for me, and luckily I got a room with 3 beds in it, so it's like it's a very spacious room. But typically they'll put like 2 people in a room, and it can be a little crowded sometimes. But I definitely think Hill House is one of the better places to live, because you get a kitchen, and it's just like there's elevators, and it's like an accessible building. So I like it. And the walk to main campus is 10 minutes, which isn't that bad, even though people like to complain about it. But I think the walk is very helpful for like clearing my head. And yeah, I just really enjoy living here. So that's the end of the tour. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you had a good time. And I'm sorry that all the clips were kind of just my face with the buildings in the back. My camera died, unfortunately, and it's better to make something than nothing at all. So yeah. All right. I wish all of you well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.